Hey everybody, Andrew back here with another point. Welcome back to my meditation series. This is part 3, and actually, no, it's not part 3, sorry, it's part 2. And so, in part 1, I was explaining, like, how important imagination is, what in the meditation process, what role imagination plays in meditation, and so, one thing that goes hand in hand with imagination is belief, because if you don't believe in your imagination, then, it's nothing but imaginary, basically. And so, it's funny how our English language works like that. It's like, that's why it's called imagination, because it's imaginary. No, imagination is a very powerful tool that we as humans have. Uh, if you think it's imaginary, it is. If you believe in the power of your intent to create with your imagination, then you start getting artists and you start getting people who are capable of creating real change. And so, um, when you're meditating, all right, you're going to be trying to imagine things. Like I was saying in my last video, per se, you're trying to find the, what is it called? The perimeter of your body, where your feet end and where your hands end. And you're going to notice that, you know, you're you have like an actual area for the bottom of your feet, per se. You're not always focused on this. For the most part, you just have feet. But if you actually try to think of the perimeter of the bottom of your feet, you kind of imagine a little bit of an arch and, the way the toes curve and all of that. And so the reason that's such a good warm-up for meditation is because it starts flexing your imagination muscle, and you automatically believe it. You're like, yeah, wow, that is the shape of my foot. But you could be totally wrong. That might not be the shape of your foot. But as soon as you believe it, then it adds something to you. It becomes a distinct texture, a lining at the bottom of your feet, and you almost want to be careful with the way you step, because you're aware of how precious your feet are and how much detail there really is in them. And so imagination is all about details. It's about coming up with something and believing that it's really there. And if you believe that it's really there, then it gains a certain quality of power, a quality of power that can become an active thing, something that is real. It's not just imaginary, it's actually real. And so, chakras, for example, you can imagine a ball of energy inside of your chest, but until you can figure a way to make it real, then you're not going to get much from it. And so when you start to imagine a chakra, your first energy center, your first chakra, you're going to run into all kinds of mental barriers that are just like, nah, that ain't there, that ain't there, that ain't there, that ain't there, that ain't there. And just so long as you do that, you're not believing in your imagination. You're not giving yourself the credit that you deserve, because if you intend it to be real, then it becomes real. And we've been conditioned for several generations to believe that it's not. If science can't prove it, it's fake. But then we have all of our Christians who will say, well, if you can't prove it, then it doesn't exist. But then they go home to their kids and preach about how Jesus multiplied bread, and the only way that can really make sense to them is that he had miracles. He had some kind of, superpower. And all that superpower was was the ability to believe, to imagine something and believe in the outcome actually coming true. And so when you're meditating, you have to be aware of how powerful belief is. If you don't believe in it, then it's not going to work for you. Like I was saying in the last video, you have to not only believe, but you have to be really patient, because your imagination only has so far it can go. You can picture a ball of energy, and you can try and really feel that ball of energy. But when you're done with that meditation and you walk upstairs, you're going to almost completely forget about it. And, you're going to be like, maybe I was just making it up. And if you do that, you were. Completely imaginary. But if you believe in it, if you try and carry it with you all the way up the stairs and see how it kind of spreads throughout your chest and ripples into the hallway and everything, then it stays with you. It doesn't actually disappear. It becomes actually real. And so if you want to get the most out of meditation, then you have to believe in its power. And I think I just want to touch on this, that it's really interesting how big of a symbol meditation is. Have you ever been like around somebody who doesn't meditate and doesn't believe that they can create with their own imagination, and they see someone meditating and they get offended because, it's like, he's just fooling himself. He's just tricking himself. It's not only is he just tricking himself, but he's sitting there in my line of sight, making me feel awkward. Like I have to walk by this dude who's just sitting there imagining things, And when they walk past that person, they get such a vibe, such a powerful vibe of unbelief. And so I just think it's funny how big of a message, how big of a symbol meditation is, because for the person actually sitting there meditating, you know what he's doing? He's completely ignoring everybody's opinion. He's ignoring the person walking by him opinion. He's ignoring the fact that there's even a person there, because the person being there is part of his imagination. And if he doesn't want to imagine that person being there, then he doesn't have to, because that might take away from the amount of creative potential that he has to, manifest his chakra, to imagine his chakra being there. And so, I guess that's a really good way to put it. If you guys know what manifestation is, it's like the ability to have a dream and watch it be fulfilled. Russ has a song about manifestation, he says something like, I got my mom a big house and I'm sitting on a couch made of gold. And I don't think that's what he really says, but he says, I call that manifestation, because back when he was a kid, he pictured himself sitting on a couch made of gold and buying his mom a house. And when it came true, it's like, how did that happen exactly how I interpreted? Sure, I went to high school and I graduated and I went to college, and after I went to college, I got lucky and got signed to a label, and because I got signed to a label, I got the money to do these things. But it was always nothing more than the intent. It was always nothing more than the child's creativity that created those things. And if you can believe that, then you're going to be able to get so much out of meditation. And so I'm aware that I haven't really still touched much on techniques for meditation, and that's what this playlist is called. But before I get into that, I really want to convince you how important it is to flex your imagination muscle, because you're going to run into so many barriers. And if you're not prepared to conquer those barriers with belief in your intent, then you're not going to get any further than that. And I want everybody who hears about my channel and anybody who hears about these techniques to be able to use them to their full potential. So that's why the start of the series is just about, belief and imagination and patience. But in my next video, I'm going to be actually running you through kind of the technique that I was talking about in the first video, where you're trying to expand your chakras and you're trying to picture that outline of your body. I'm going to run you through those things so that you can, with me, kind of experience all of the blockages that you're going to hit, and you can conquer them right there and with me. But yeah, I'm going to also add into that video a little bit about yoga and the difference between yoga and meditation. I'm talking about the next video. I'm going to add a little bit about yoga and meditation, but yeah, I want to give you a little bit more tools to use. And I'm not saying that you can't come up with tools or techniques by yourself, and I honestly encourage you to come up with techniques, and I know there's also a million videos out there that can give you techniques, but I want to actually walk you through the process that I've experienced so you can see, where you have to just be like, yeah, sure, it's not possible, but I still believe. And so yeah, I guess that's it for this video. You guys can look forward to my next one. I'm going to be talking again about meditation and yoga, but I'm also going to be talking about the different benefits that each one grants, because the benefits you get from it are both imaginary to a level, but one is kind of better for people who enjoy being in their minds, and one's better for people who enjoy moving, because in meditation you're still. In yoga you get to kind of move around and feel your chi, if you want to call it that, and stuff like that. So yep, that's it for this video. Look forward to making the next one, and I hope that you guys look forward to watching it. Alrighty, it's Andrew with another point, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.